לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach. Shabbat shalom and Chag Sameach. Good evening. I am Rabbi Javier Carapan, all by myself on this Shabbat, although I am joined by our musicians Susie and Warren and our technical team. Special thanks to our Beyond Our Walls committee who are helping us together with our docents to manage this streaming. If you are technically inclined and would like to join this wonderful group, please call our office and we'll get you in contact with them. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, prayer pages and helpful links can be found in the comments. If you are joining us on our virtual sanctuary, they can be found right above the player. On Facebook Live, please say hi by typing Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach, if you can handle all that. It's a lot of words. We also would love to know where are you watching us from. Please make sure that you write down this number, 913-303-1134. That's Tal, our technical assistance line. If you have any troubles connecting to our streaming, text that number and one of our docents will get back to you as soon as possible. For those of us here in person, we ask you that you please silence all electronic devices. Thank you in advance for that. We together welcome Shabbat by lighting the Shabbat candles. If you have candles at home, we invite you to light them. And on page 120, we will join in the blessings. Okay, that's not going to work today. Plan B. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Shabbat Shalom. We continue welcoming Shabbat together on page 132. 132, we read together. Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing to Adonai all the earth. Sing to Adonai, bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are made idols, but Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and his people in faithfulness. We continue together with Lecha Dodi. It's on page 138. We'll be singing together stanzas 1, 2, 9, I'm sorry, 7 and 9. 1, 2, 7, 9. לך לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, זו מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, כי בהולך קומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד עיני עלייך נגלה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה, We continue on page 146 with Baruch Hu. Continue together, page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We continue together on page 159 with Mi Chamocha, 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osef Page 161, continue together the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch Ata Adonai, הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש. If you're able, we invite you to rise for the beginning of the Amidah on page 164. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם והסרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומניח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We continue silently through page 180. This moment in our service, we turn our thoughts to those in need of healing. Those of you watching us virtually, you may have access to the Misheberach list through the e-news that you received this morning. You can also follow the link in the comments. If you'd like to offer names, please type them in the comments so we can all see them. Please go ahead and begin typing. And for those of you in person, we invite you to share names as I point around the sanctuary. I'm going to start on this side.
Chris Graham. Amy Kieran.
Chris Gray. As we turn our thoughts to those in need of healing, page 371, we join our voices together and sing in the Mi Sheberach prayer. Mi Sheberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Limoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. As we think of those in need of healing, we also turn our thoughts to those who help in healing, health workers all over our country and the world during this pandemic. May those who care for the sick with their hands, their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and stamina. May those who pursue healing through medical skill and knowledge be blessed with insight, patience, and compassion. May all of us, the sick and the well together, find courage and hope. As we say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. It's now time for our Simcha moment. If you are so moved to share special Simcha, a joy from this past week, by typing your Simcha in the comments line. It may include your birthday, anniversaries, good news, and accomplishments of all and any kind. Please just use a few words and press return. For those of us here in person, we have our Simcha microphone. You can come up here individually or as pod, where actually you don't congregate here, and there is an X there. If you stand there and speak loudly, this wonderful microphone will pick it up. So I think we have a person here waiting. You can tell us your name and what you're here for.
I am Carol, and it's been a wonderful week. A former friend of a member of our congregation who moved to Indiana to be with her grandchildren came to visit, and she was sad. She was planning to come to services last weekend, and we had that problem where the services were canceled, the in-person services were canceled. But I got to have lunch with her on Shabbat and also on Monday. And then on Wednesday, I was able to have lunch in the sukkah here, and that was great. Last year, there were only 2 of us, I think, besides Aviva, and this year there was too many to count. And then on Thursday, I went to Branson. I just got back at 6 o'clock in time to turn around and come here. And
That's called dedication. Thank you.
and tomorrow I'm invited to lunch in another sukkah, so things are really great.
You're going sukkah hopping. So since it is Sukkot, so I wanted to share with you one of my favorite poems by Ruth Brin from her book Harvest, Collected Poems and Prayers. It's titled Sukkot. And when I was looking through her biography, I realized that she died in 2009 on September 30th during the festival of Sukkot. She was 88, and so this is a very appropriate way not only to celebrate the holiday of Sukkot, but also remembering Ruth Brin, that I like many of her poems, and you share with her. And one of the topics of Sukkot, as you may know, is Thanksgiving. Many historians have pointed out that the origins of the American Thanksgiving holiday around that same time might have been inspired by some of the biblical narratives that the pilgrims read in the books of the Torah in particular. So it is a feast of Thanksgiving, and that's what Sukkot is, at least in biblical times. I'll talk about the other pieces in a little bit later, but the Thanksgiving piece is what Ruth Brin picks up on her poem Prayer. On our tables are the harvests of the earth, pears and grapes, corn and peppers. We thank you for the food which sustains us in all seasons of the year. In winter, we stand at our windows looking out upon dreary trees. Long ago, the harvest was taken, only dry stalks remain, and frozen ground beneath the snow. We thank you for shelter, for the body that shelters the spirit, for the house and the city and the nation which shelter us, for the talents of those who design and build, for the ability of those who make shelters of justice and structures of peace. In the spring after rain, our eyes are filled with loveliness, greening lawn, opening bud, darting bird. To thank you for fruitful earth and talented people is not enough. There is life and growth, perception, consciousness, logic, and truth. And because of these, there is your gift of freedom. We thank you that we are not like bat or bird, but being human, are free to choose, even between good and evil, life and death. In July and the warm, sweet days of summer, we thank you for beauty. The oaks cast their deep shadow on the lawn, and we thank you for love. That we dwell in the shadow of your love, that we are able to love you even as you love us, O God. Now at Sukkot, the apples hang ripe and heavy on the trees. The trembling leaves shine red and gold in the sunlight. You are the source of the radiance of the sun, the bridegroom, and of the fruitfulness of the earth, his bride. For shelter and freedom, for love and beauty, for all the harvest of earth and sun, of talent and spirit, for all your blessings, we give thanks to you. As we now gather our simchas, all that we have shared on this Shabbat of Sukkot, we offer a prayer. Divine source of blessings, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude for those who have shared with us their happiness, birthdays, anniversaries, good news, and accomplishments. Adonai, be with them now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring to our sacred community, together we join in song as we mark this sacred occasion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. So, one of the most unique Jewish fruits, and trust me, there are not that many, it's the etrog. Here it is, which in English has been identified as a citron. And I was surprised to learn that the word etrog itself, it's found nowhere in the Hebrew Bible. As you may know, the Hebrew Bible has many flowers and trees and apples and all kinds of things, but the etrog is nowhere to be found. As a matter of fact, most scholars think that the word etrog might be an Aramaic word. Of course, we all know Aramaic, but the fruit that we now call etrog, it is alluded to in the book of Leviticus, and it's called Pri Etz Hadar, which means something like a fruit from a beautiful tree. Well, thank you very much for the description. The word etrog may come from a translation of the Hebrew root into Aramaic that means shining or beautiful, shin resh gimel. Now, we do know when the word etrog first appeared in the sources, and this is in the Targum, which is the Aramaic translation of the Torah, written about the first century of the Common Era. And it reads, and don't worry about it, it's not really that important what it says. It says, "Betisvun lekon beyom hakadam pri ilana etrogin." That's all we care about. The first etrog is there, and it's the plural. And of your own you shall take on the first day of the feast. And this is actually the translation into Aramaic of the text from Leviticus, Pri Etz Hadar, and the Aramaic translation says, the fruits of the trees, citrons, in other words, etrogim. So by the first century, we know that the etrog is the fruit in question. Now, as you can imagine, we are in Judaism, so that was one person's opinions. There are many more opinions, and I'm not going to go down all the list, of course, because everybody has an opinion of what does it mean to be the fruit from the beautiful tree. The one that I'm interested in happened in the 11th century. It comes from the great commentator. His name is Rashi. He teaches the following: the fruit is called hadar, and that's in the Torah. Hadar, Pri Etz Hadar, and the word hadar, by the way, means beautiful. But he has a little midrash, a little interpretation about this, and it says, because it is the tree whose fruit remains, hadar, meaning that dwells, that lives on the tree from year to year. And that is what we call, Rashi says, the etrog. What an odd thing to say. I mean, the fruit that remains on the tree. What happens to most fruits if you stay in the tree from more than a year? They fall off, right? I mean, everybody knows that. Well, not the etrog. Now, as you may know, I am very fond, if you don't know, I am very fond of horticulture. So when I travel, I visit botanical gardens, and poor Chris has been to every botanical garden. One time we were in Montreal, and I had to go to the botanical garden. The poor guy had food poisoning, and he stayed in the car for 3-4 hours while I toured the Montreal Botanical Gardens, because, when else are you going to do in Montreal? You go to the Botanical Garden. Yes, yes. Hi, Chris. So a few years ago, I have a friend, an Israeli friend, who is also an avid gardener. So in the middle of summer, he took me to, of course, a garden. But this is it's in Israel, but it's not just a botanical garden. It's called Neot Kedumim. And it's a biblical landscape kind of garden study area located in the hills between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And you can see some pictures of me at Neot Kedumim in 2006 on my personal Facebook page, which I want you to visit and take a look at that. But their mission is to grow species of plants that are mentioned in the Hebrew Bible or in the Jewish sources, right? Because, again, the etrog is not in the Hebrew Bible, in a historically authentic fashion. So I was walking around this Judean desert in the middle of July, which is very hot, and it's not usually my cup of tea, except that on that day, I learned why the etrog is probably the best candidate to be this Pri Etz Hadar, the fruit from a beautiful tree mentioned in the Torah. Until I saw the etrog groves that they have, all I have seen were the etrogim that many of you know. It's kind of smallish. It's green now, but it will turn yellow eventually. They pick them green so they can get to us, shipped and all that, that we get every year for Sukkot. This is a good quality. They're smaller usually. It doesn't matter. And every year when we talk about Sukkot and the etrog, I kind of have to talk up the etrog, something like, oh, so wonderful. The smell, that's what everybody thinks. Oh, but it doesn't look like anything. It tastes pretty bitter, but it smells great. So every year, I kind of convince myself that this is a wonderful fragrance, and it's really what makes the etrog an inspiring fruit. But Rashi helped me see that there's really something missing in the etrog, the way that we understand it. And in what makes the etrog really great, it's not so much the smell, although it's important, it is its growing habit. I'm going to get a little technical now. So, in subtropical climates where most of Israel lies, the etrog can stay on the tree growing away for at least 2 growing seasons. You have not experienced the awesomeness of the etrog until you've been face to face with an etrog as big as your head. And I have a picture on my Facebook page to show you what an etrog as big as your head looks like. I have, and you can look at the picture, but this isn't like, a lime or an orange or just an overdeveloped pomelo. Really, it's an exceptionally different kind of fruit. And except for those, genetically modified fruits, I'm sure they can grow them as big as your house, no other citrus stand a chance next to this massive fruit. You have to think this is a big one. Beholding an etrog at Neot Kedumim for the first time, as it once was, all I could think was, Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, how great are your deeds, God. The etrog could remain on the tree year-round, being subject to all kinds of climatic variations. There's not a lot of pulp inside the etrog. It's mostly skin. The thick skin we see in the etrog is a result of its natural resiliency. It's a way to adapt to the changes in temperature and the cycles of rain and drought. It is pure evolutionary biology. Adversity had made the etrog adapt and find a way to survive by growing thicker stronger skin. Some of our ancient rabbis who were knowledgeable about fruity culture saw the etrog as a symbol of permanence and stability. The etrog reminded them that surviving difficult and challenging experiences can make us stronger. Like the etrog, our spirits are forged by the constant need to adapt to new circumstances in our lives. The etrog can be a symbol of adaptability, flexibility, and resilience, personal qualities that we need and that we long for. This last year, year and a half now, almost 2 years, have been challenging for us personally, as well as for our community, our congregation, and for our nation. The etrog reminds us that we, living and breathing creatures that we are, also have the ability to recover from difficulties. Adversity and stress come in many shapes and forms. Global pandemic, family and relationship problems, health problems, stress at the workplace, natural disasters, and human-induced tragedies like what we're seeing now at the US-Mexico border. Knowing and seeing that no matter what, the etrog keeps growing is a powerful reminder that our God-given ability to regenerate, to build resilience, and to grow spiritually, it is within us. We must all embrace and develop our natural tendency to remain, to dwell in our narrow spaces, in our difficult places, so that our spirits can be restored. And there's one more feature the etrog has. Although it goes through a lot of changes as it grows on the tree and it goes from green to this beautiful yellow, it manages always to remain beautiful. Its skin is not bitter. It exudes a delightful aroma. It is very nice if you get to smell it later today in the sukkah. And I think it's difficult to go through everything that we have been through together these last 17 months without getting a little discouraged, a tiny grouchy, and a bit bitter. But the etrog shows us it is possible. And I see that as something to aspire to, as something that we can challenge ourselves to be, to remain thankful and sweet and kind in spite of our many difficulties. As we begin this new year, we pray, God, show us the way to learn from the etrog. Adonai, inspire us so that we may continue to strengthen our spirits, our determination, and each other. May we be resilient as we face the adversities the world in which we live will bring. And may our resilience give us hope and help us remain sweet and kind, just like the etrog. Chag Sameach, have a wonderful rest of Sukkot and Shabbat Shalom. Service continues now as we come to the closing part of the service, page 586. If we are able, please stand for Aleinu L'Shabeach. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהן, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו As we now prepare for our moment of remembrance, I invite you to turn to page 595. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were, in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one, whose life, now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. As a congregation, we are observing the Shiva for Jim Merrill, husband of Ellen Merrill and stepfather of Reagan Siegel, and the Shloshim for Warner Julius Berg, father and father-in-law of Jackie and Phil Hermanson, John L. Esser III, brother of Glenn Esser, George Zucker, father and father-in-law of Dave and Leslie Zucker, and Henry Osmond, brother of Stan Osmond. And on this Shabbat, we remember the following yortzites of members of our congregation: Marilyn Abraham, Marianne Allen, Solomon Botwin, Carmela D'Angelo Aldieri, William Duncan, John Esser Jr., Leah Gandol, Sharon Golden, Molly Gordon, Valda Hagen, Nona Katz, Lillian Nathan Kirsch, Anna Krasnaya, Nancy Levine, Jack Miller, Amy Dennis Piran, Paul Pizer, Bessie Polsky, Estelle Rutman, Haskell Rosenblum, Audrey Rubin, Richard Schlesinger, Max Schrago, Cyril Skigny, Florence Warshawski, Gail Watt, Louis White, Jerry Yegan, Fanny Sisman de Chaes. Zichronam livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. Page 598, together we rise as a congregation to recite Kaddish Yatom, the mourners' Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעלמה דברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון ובמכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דא אמירם בלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמרו אמן. It is time for some announcements. I would like to invite Aviva Simons, Director Member Engagement for our congregation, for some greetings and announcements. Aviva?
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. Tomorrow morning, first of all, thank you. Thank you very much to Rabbi Javier Katapan, Susie Adams, and Warren Sickle, and David Thal for all making this service possible. We're so glad that we could come together physically and virtually. And now, tomorrow, we will come together for Sichat Shabbat, our Shabbat conversation at 9 o'clock a.m., and then Shabbat morning worship at 10:30 a.m. These will both be multi-access, so all are welcome to join us physically at Beth Torah and virtually. And later on in the day at 5 o'clock p.m., we have our Biddy and JYG Sukkot bike ride. So we're very excited for our students to jump on their bicycles, and we'll be starting just around Beth Torah and going on a beautiful bike ride to treasure the fall during Sukkot. So we are looking forward to that. Believe it or not, Simchat Torah is around the corner now that we are wrapping up Sukkot. So we will come together for our Erev Simchat Torah service on Monday at 6:30 p.m., and then our Simchat Torah morning service, which will include Yisker, on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Again, both of these services are multi-access, so they will be live streamed on Facebook and the virtual sanctuary. Two deadlines to keep in mind is that our 5782 small group registration is closing. So small groups are a wonderful way to drink beer, read, watch movies, learn Hebrew, eat barbecue, all of the above with your fellow Beth Torah members. So there's a link on our website. Go ahead and just let us know what you're interested in. And Paula Fremerman, who's in the back, and I will be putting the groups together next week. So we're very excited to come together in that way. And also, those in person will see that our collection for the JFS High Holy Day food drive is overflowing, which is wonderful. And this will be concluding next week. So everyone at home and here, if you have groceries at home that you'd like to bring in, please do so by Wednesday. And then JFS will be coming to pick up all of our donations. All right, and lastly, we kicked off our 5782 High Holy Day Appeal, and I would personally like to say thank you to everyone who has contributed thus far, and the link is online to make your virtual pledge, however you would be comfortable doing so. And last but not least, thank you very much to Ron Zipper for sponsoring tonight's Own Egg in honor of his son Brandon Zipper's wedding to Phoebe Barrett in November. And tonight's Own Egg is a little bit different. So we have pizza in the hut. Get it? Pizza in the hut for Sukkot. It's not Pizza Hut pizza, but it's very good. So everyone here, the sukkah is around the corner. So I would recommend walking through the ulam using the side door. We have pizza and other goodies outside, and also the opportunity to shake the lulav and etrog. So join us in the sukkah. Those at home, have a slice of pizza tonight. You know, it never hurts. Shabbat Shalom to everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Aviva. We conclude our time together on this Shabbat singing the closing lines of Adon Olam, They are on page 625. It's also on screen. If you are able, please stand and join us. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.